This video is brought to you by Play Tracker, the app that tracks your cross-platform game library, achievements, stats, and more. Play Tracker works by connecting to various gaming platforms and combining all your data in one place. It offers a unified cross-platform social experience, advanced game library labeling and sorting, fun challenges and progression system, and stats about games and the types of players who enjoy them. Play Tracker is for all kinds of gamers, like this one.
My top tags across all platforms are dating sim and psychological hoarder. I'm sure that says nothing about me as a person.
And this one.
My mate Captain Toe Jam 96 and I have a lot of games in common. We should tackle some challenges together.
And even me! I'm better than all of you. Unite your gaming multiverse with Play Tracker today and join the official Second Wind Guild to unlock exclusive profile decorations by playing games recommended by us, a group of ostensibly professional gamers with allegedly great taste in games. Hoo-hoo.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Windbreaker podcast, episode number 102 for Monday, December 1st, 2025. Marty here, joined by JM8 and producer Eric. Sans Yahtzee. Came down with a bit of the post-Thanksgiving ick. I think he got stuffed too much.
Too much stuffing. Damn it, we went for the exact same joke. I was waiting to say that.
Stuffing for our boy. He's feeling a bit under the weather, but he will be recuperating. But we're here with Eric to carry the torch. And this week we thought it would be fun to chat a bit about games that exist in a genre of their own, or at least maybe did at the time of release, and then some things have trickled out, which is the tough thing. Like, if something's good enough, almost everything's going to get cribbed.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And this idea spawned a little bit based on I'm playing a couple things. One, I'm playing the new Katamari, Once Upon a Katamari, which truly does feel like a game that no one has stolen from. But even that, there was that indie game Donut County that was kind of like anti Katamari, where it was like you are a hole and you just want everything to fall into the hole and the hole gets bigger. And I've also been playing a lot of DS games, which have a lot of genres and mechanics that just kind of can't be replicated because it's very hardware specific.
Yeah. Also, like, correct me if I'm wrong. Is the Katamari mechanic patented?
I don't know. So that is published by Bandai Namco, who I know has a history of patenting their things, like the loading screen minigame for a little while. They patented, I think, in Tekken, I want to say. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know. It just feels like maybe there's been some. Oh, did you look it up? Did you figure it out? Is it patent?
Yeah, but I don't want to dive too deep because I'll just won't be engaging. But the AI overview says yes. But it's a fucking coin toss whether that's just lying.
Exactly. There's definitely been some games that have kind of had like an ability like a Katamari to where it's like, oh, you're like a magnet that can draw objects towards you and get bigger. Yeah. Like I think even Knack had that, but nothing felt quite like the game
rolling up objects within the world itself. Yeah. And even if a game does something similar, the immediate thought is, oh, like Katamari. Right.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's good. It's become kind of synonymous with it in a way that, we've been, I feel like on Yahtzee Tries over the past few months or year, we've come across several games that we've immediately been like, oh, that's Papers, Please. Right? Like Papers, Please kind of created this pure bureaucracy simulator, judgment simulator, empathy simulator, which a ton of games. Yeah, a PP like. Listen, in this house, we PP love. But yeah, they've kind of done twists on it. They've done like the silly twist in Little Guardsman, and then kind of the more scarier twist, which they've done recently on like, is this person at the door human or not? And you have to figure out if they're a monster or if they're
lots of horror twists.
Yeah. What when we brought up this topic, what were some of the things that came to mind for you?
Oh, okay. So a lot of them it's thinking, because let's get this out there. Genre in itself is very nebulous and bullshit, right? Sure. Like it's a descriptor of a thing. And a lot of the times when games are like in a genre of their own, it's usually because they're one doing something wholly unique, kind of similar to Papers, Please, and now we've got into like the indie sphere now where people are starting to do it outside of that one game. But also, along with being wholly unique, I think just a blending of multiple different genres in a way that hasn't been seen before. So the standouts for me, well, one from this year would be Blueprints, with the blending of puzzles and like roguelike and traversal, and also just anything Daniel Mullins has done. So like Inscription, of like Pony Island. Not Daniel Mullins. What is that the correct dev? Am I thinking of?
Yeah, Daniel Mullins did Inscription.
Yeah. Like Inscription, I think, is a game that just stands by itself for being so unique, because spoilers, stop listening. I'll do a thumbs up when you can listen again. That game is a blending of multiple different games. Like each act feels very, very different. But there's through lines throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's really unique.
Is that subversiveness? Has that become a kind of genre in and of itself? I guess a subgenre, or like a flavor, like a spice to add to things.
100%.
Which those games are always tough to recommend to people, because it's always like, play this thing, I can't tell you why.
Yeah,
and
like Stanley Parable.
Yeah, but that kind of gives away that there's or what was Doki Doki Literature Club, where it's like, listen, for the first 20 minutes, you're going to think this is like a cutesy weeb waifu simulator. Keep going. And by virtue of you having to tell people to keep going, that does kind of show its hand a little bit. It's hard to be wholly surprised by something in 2025, especially in our jobs.
Yeah. Well, and especially if you like, so for Doki Doki, I have a weird relationship with Doki, because I once did a 24-hour stream where I made a video, and I made a video on Doki Doki.
I feel like every once in a while, you either threaten or promise to do another stream like that. I'm like, you're going to kill yourself.
I want to do it. I like kind of enjoyed it. But anyway, so I have a weird view on Doki Doki, and I hadn't played it, and I'm not a big visual novel guy. Not because I think less of the genre. It's just not my thing. I'd rather do different things with my gameplay time. But a friend of mine was like, you should play it. And I'm like, this is the most out of left field recommendation I've ever heard in my life.
Sure.
I don't like these games. And they're like, but do it. I ended up really enjoying it. Obviously, no spoilers for anyone who wants to dive into it. But I guess if you already like the genre, you're going to dive in and be surprised by the thing. You might just think it's popular, right? But
sure.
It reaches outside of its own genre by being subversive. And we always joked about the creators of Stanley Parable, how One Stop was being subversive by not being subversive, by just being a video game.
Yeah.
I think that's really funny.
Yeah, that is a good way to, like, those are, I guess, easier sells for, like you said, people who like the genre to begin with. Like, I think Undertale's an easy sell for people who like kind of classic JRPGs, and Shipwreck 64 is an easy sell for people who like 3D platformers, that kind of stuff. I love a game that sort of does a little okey doke like that. How do you feel about Death Stranding? Do we think that is something that, because that is an open world game with a shit ton of cutscenes with very famous people, which is not original whatsoever, but the mere fact that it kind of, its main mechanic, especially in the first game, is walking. Like, it is truly a walking simulator in a non-pejorative term, because the walking is the mechanics. Yeah,
like, so famously, which is going to change soon when I dive into it, I haven't played any Kojima properties. As much as I like them, admire them, I've watched analysis videos on them a whole bunch. And Death Stranding is one of them that I own. Death Stranding twice. I did own it on the PS5, didn't play it. And I own the director's cut on
PC. Yeah.
On PC. When it first came out and the gameplay loop was described to me, because I was first drawn in by the characters in it. I was really fascinated that, like, Norman Reedus, Mads Mikkelsen, Guillermo del Toro were all in this thing. The trailers, the narrative they were hinting at was really interesting to me. And I bought the game and then found out what the gameplay loop was and was like, no thanks. And again, it's kind of like with visual novels. It's not because I think it's bad. It's because at the time I didn't want that. I didn't like it. Wasn't what I thought the game was going to be.
Sure.
But from what I've heard from people who've played it a whole bunch, and I'm sure you can speak to this, the nature of the gameplay loop does lend itself very well to the story it's trying to tell, and has its own intricacies along the way.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and it is. I think that is very much like your example earlier of it's less a fully original thing and more of by the virtue of how it's pieced together those familiar pieces, it's created something like it's kind of to bring up Guillermo, it's kind of Frankensteined its way into something that feels original. Which I guess in 2025, it's kind of hard to do something in a medium that's almost 50 years old in terms of mainstream appeal and 70 years old in terms of actually the first interactive software. It's hard to do things that do feel kind of wholly original.
Yeah. I don't think anything can be wholly original because at the end of the day, you are interacting with a character you're interfacing with the character via a controller in one of like 3 or 4 different visual ways. I think the thing you have to do is have like your unique selling point, right? Your USP. And the USP of Death Stranding is if you take out all of the actors and Kojima and stuff like that, if you just boil it down to it mechanically, it's the traversal, and that's the thing it's doing unique. But like people can be very abrasive to it. I think I remember a lot of people being very shitty to Death Stranding. This was a long time ago.
Yeah, people
were really, really against it and saying like the combat was really shallow and stuff like that. Even though that wasn't the point, right?
Yeah, I think that was a byproduct of people didn't know what to expect from Kojima, or maybe they expected Metal Gear, but more
Metal Gear. Yeah,
yeah, and so I think a lot of people were a little turned off by it at first, but it seems like over time, and especially as like the pandemic hit and people were like, ooh, this was weirdly prophetic in a way that a weird number of Kojima things tend to be. I feel like it got another kind of a wave of people giving it another analysis. It's funny that you brought up the walking as kind of the unique selling point, because I feel like that has become kind of a genre in its own in long before Death Stranding and something like QWOP by Bennett Foddy, which leads a direct line to Baby Steps this year, which Baby Steps feels like it's like Death Stranding for true sickos. Like that is a game that I played for like half an hour and I was like, I appreciate this. I cannot wrap my head around how to literally make this large man move. It sucks because everyone I know who really got into it, which is a small number of people, they became like fucking obsessed. And they're like, holy shit, this thing is like capital S special. But it's just one of those things where I'm going to be like, well, I'll have to take your word for it because I'm never going to get there.
Yeah, it's like, and I want everyone who's listening to remember this. It's okay to put games down and be like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just because a large majority of people, even people you respect, think it's really good, doesn't mean you have to force yourself to enjoy it. Because 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to. Yeah.
Everyone has their likes and dislikes of foods. And if you don't like something, like I'm not crazy about avocados, that doesn't mean avocados are bad. Doesn't mean people who enjoy avocados are bad. I mean, if you put too much avocado on something, it is bad, and you are bad.
Yeah.
But outside of it.
It's like I have the soap cilantro gene. Doesn't mean I think if you put it on your food, you're a sicko. It's just apparently it tastes great for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
I just want to taste what it actually tastes like. I'm so sad. Okay, fuck those people.
It's funny, when I go back, the first time I remembered something feeling like, oh, this is new, was weirdly enough Harvest Moon for the Super Nintendo, which
interesting,
I think was the first farming game. I don't know if anything ever popped up beforehand, but that was the first time a farming game was ever on my radar. And for a while, it felt extremely unique, like no one was doing that. And then all of a sudden, into the 2000s, and especially once the indie boom came around, I was like, oh, this has become like they were just ahead of the curve by making this in the mid 90s for the Super Nintendo, because now, every farming sim / cozy game under the sun is doing a thing like that. And it's become a burgeoning like not even a subgenre, like a mainstream genre.
It's a full genre, yeah. Farming sim for sure. I feel like the one for me was it's the turns for technology when we push into this, and we've kind of stagnated with this. But Mario 64 was just, that was the first time I played something where I was like, this is new, right? Like this is the start of something. And that's the exciting thing when you play games that are really good or like in a genre of their own. It's that it gets you excited for what other people can do to elevate that thing. Like Mario 64 is great. I absolutely love that game, but like there's lots of jank in it. Of course. Yeah. And just thinking then of like other games being able to like do things like this with its graphics and its traversal and its platforming, but just better. Like I'm always super excited for what more devs can do with the new thing. And not copying, but like just elevating what they've seen.
Yeah, it's interesting that sometimes you play a game like Mario 64, like Zelda 64, like Grand Theft Auto 3. I mean, a lot of the games that did come out in that era, because that transition to 3D was, kind of where a lot of modern genres were birthed from. But it's funny to play those games and to almost know immediately, oh, this is like a line of demarcation, and everything afterwards is going to be different. Whereas I think when we played something like, like Papers, Please, or maybe even like Dear Esther, I don't think we immediately thought, oh, this is going to open the door for a bunch of games that have similar mechanics as Paper, Please, or this is going to open the door for Dear Esther's sake in the walking sim genre. This is going to lead to a decade plus of indie developers being like, oh, this is an interesting way for me to tell my story.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's a difference between games that are in a genre of their own, doing something unique, and games that are genre defining. Like they're the first ones to do the thing, and that is then going to be a staple of just all the games that are trying to do that in the genre. I think Symphony of the Night was the first game that really combined a bunch of different genres, and when this is a new thing, and after you play it, you're like, okay, now this is how it's meant to be done. Dark Souls, right? Yeah. Like Demon Souls came out, and it's like, boom, this is now going to be how people are going to be trying to do action RPGs going forward, because it just works, right? They've just figured out the way to make it work. I take that back. Demon Souls sucks. But Dark Souls.
Well, and Demon Souls was most people were kind of like, what the fuck is this? And then there were like a few prophets who were like, I see this. I see what the kernel of what's going to come. And then Dark Souls is the thing that kicked the door open. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. To touch on the game that's in our thumbnail, that's Pyre. That is Supergiant's third game. So they did Bastion and Transistor, which, although their worlds are very different, have kind of similar isometric combat. Yeah. And then obviously afterwards they've done the Hades games, which seem to build upon those original ones. But you have Pyre, which feels so different than what came before it and what came after. And again, maybe it's one of those, it's a Frankenstein amalgamation of a bunch of different things. But it is a part choice-based visual novel, and then part 3-on-3 basketball. You engage in these like religious pilgrims called the Rites, and it is ostensibly basketball. Also feels a little bit like a MOBA. A very strange, a strange game that they haven't really touched on since. Like very little of those elements. I guess aside from a lot of small choice-based story moments, which I think Hades has pulled from, and Hades 2 especially, I think is excellent at making small moments feel like they're really authored. But that's something that kind of got left in the dust as Hades grew so popular.
Yeah, that game obviously took off. I think as a dev team, there's such great examples of taking designs from their previous iterations, even if they're in a slightly different genre. It might be from the same kind of isometric angle, but like in a different genre, and just elevating their work based on their previous stuff. Like,
sure,
Pyre is incredible, right? Like, and there are no games like it. I think wacky sports games are just a genre that I wish more people dived into. It's just maybe they don't sell well.
I think back at the Escapist, we might have done Yahtzee and I might have done an episode of Slightly Something Else that was literally just called "Bring Back Weird Sports Games." It was mostly just me being like, I miss weird sports games. Why don't we do those anymore?
Yeah, I like, because there's so many things that people, I think what like doing this whole, we're doing a genre defining thing is taking something we're already familiar with and then applying something weird to it. Like, we all know how to play tag, right? We all played it as children, or, dodgeball or X, Y, and Z. Okay, well then what can we Frankenstein graft onto this to give it a unique spin that hopefully elevates it and isn't just some bullshit. Oh, it's football but bloody, right?
Yeah.
No offense to Blood Bowl, but
sure. All offense to Blood Bowl. It is funny though how that does, it feels like the two halves of it really do work together though. The weird religious basketball works with the kind of the pilgrimage story in the same way that, in my opinion, a game like Catherine works. The two halves of Catherine, which is spend time at a bar and try to figure out what you're doing in your relationship because you may have cheated on your girlfriend with another girl of the same name. And then at night you have to climb up these this pyramid of Tetris blocks. All the while there's an enemy coming from below you and various sheep along the way that are trying to knock you off. And it's like one of those, how the fuck do these two things coexist in the same world? But once you get into its flow, you're kind of like, okay, yeah, I actually see where this is coming from.
Are there any examples of developers trying to do this, but it hasn't worked? I've got one.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Sorry to friend of the podcast, Tim Schafer.
Okay.
Brutal Legends.
Oh, yeah, that's a great example, actually.
Yeah, Brutal Legends, for anyone who doesn't know, is a really cool hack and slash action game starring Jack Black in this metal, like heavy metal world where he meets like heavy metal legends like Ozzy Osbourne and stuff. And you use guitars and riffs as your weapons. It's very, very cool. But about, I think, the halfway point, it turns into an RTS.
Oh, yeah.
And then
and those become like major RTS things battle. You have to get through. Yeah,
and then it goes back to hack and slash and driving in your awesome car, and then it turns into an RTS again, and it's very weird. And we had Tim Schafer, the creator, on the DevHeads podcast very early on, and I was looking forward to asking him whether why that was, because in my mind it was like they created a cool game and then they wanted to do RTS, so they tacked that on.
Sure.
And when I say tacked on, I don't mean it was like a last minute decision, but like they wanted to add that, right? But he said that it was the complete opposite. It started as an RTS game, and then they wanted to be able to, if I remember correctly, allow the player to go down and fight in the RTS battles. And then in playtesting, everyone just loved doing that rather than the RTS element. So they spun that into the game and then but maintained the RTS element. So it's weird that the game was trying to do like this genre blending that, in my opinion, doesn't really gel very well.
Yeah, and I feel like part of that is, Tim Schafer and the LucasArts crew had their roots in PC gaming, obviously in the 90s with adventure games, but then Double Fine and Psychonauts was a console-first game. And, came to PC, but like it kind of primarily at consoles. And so Brutal Legend was primarily geared towards consoles, which during the 360 generation, and even now, I would say, still haven't fully figured out how to do RTSs on a console without, like, that does feel like a genre that, unless you're really going to do something, like really put the effort and the thought into it, kind of requires a mouse and keyboard. Is hard to do with a controller, and it was hard, 20 years ago or whenever Brutal Legend came out, 15 years ago.
And it is possible if you put the effort in, right, to kind of make that transition from a game that's kind of made for one kind of format and then transitioning it to another. I think I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14 recently, and MMOs are very famous for having a shit ton of buttons and requiring mouse and keyboard.
I was never left PC, right?
But Final Fantasy 14 is fully compatible on controller in a really interesting and smart way, to the point where I kind of now prefer playing on controller.
Yeah.
I think it's really impressive that they were like, no, we're going to make it work. We're going to do something different. We're going to make it accessible.
Yeah, and especially, Final Fantasy, another great example of that is clearly a console forward series and a Japan forward series as well. So I think putting in the effort to make it not only work but work well on consoles was important. When you brought up Inscription earlier, it also reminded me we also interviewed the devs of Unpacking. Unpacking.
Unpacked, yeah.
No,
Unpacking. Jess was about to buy it.
No,
is it Unpacked or Unpacking?
Unpacked is Nick. Nick is Unpacked.
Unpacking. Yeah, Nick is Unpacked. It's Unpacking. Yeah.
Unpacking, which was a game that felt to me very novel at the time, and then was immediately stolen. The idea was like within months, maybe stolen, put up on stores
the iTunes store and stuff.
The iTunes store, and a similar thing happened with that. There's that puzzle game 2046, which is kind of like the tile based. You can play one finger on your phone. Completely stole its mechanic from a game called Threes, but made it free to play. And that is the game everyone cites now. If there's a game that uses that mechanic, it's like, oh, that's like 2046. I'm like, no, those fuckers stole it from another game that dared to charge $3 for their game and made it free.
Yeah, it's a really weird aspect of just game dev in general, which is, and this happens a lot more in the AAA space than it does the indie, because I think apart from the examples you just suggested, there are obviously bad actors in any industry you work in, but the idea of like things being under NDA, so not just that things don't get leaked, but mainly because they don't want other big AAA companies to steal what they think their USP is for their new product. Yeah. Because that happens. Like this kind of game dev espionage is a thing, and people will go sell secrets to other companies to try and get a leg up. So they are the ones that originated this thing. So the other company is, copying them and stuff like that. So you do have to be really careful about it. But it feels so dirty when it's with indies. Right, like the guys,
especially when it's so obvious, like so fucking clear.
Yeah, it's gross, right? And it's just because they see this, and when a new game comes out and it's like first in its genre and it does really well, it's like you look at the game and you go, oh, of course. Like, why hasn't someone done this before? This is so interesting, right? They've done something unique, which is really admirable, but then that sells well, and other people go, well, it took these guys, 3 to 4 or 5 years to make this product because they were figuring out how to do a completely new thing. But now that it's been done, it's quite easy to rip off. So let's just do that for cheaper and make a bunch of quick money. It's disgusting.
They spent 5 years of their life climbing a mountain and then built an elevator at the top that other people are just like, well, fuck it, I'll just take the elevator up. I don't need to climb the mountain.
That's a great analogy. Yeah. And then I'll make another elevator up there that's free to use.
That's free. Yeah,
and then everyone else can come up.
Yes, and sorry, chat. It's 2048, not 2046. 2046 is, I think, a Wong Kar-wai movie or Blade Runner. No, I don't know what Blade Runner is. 2090, whatever.
2042 was Blade Runner?
No way to know. The number changes every time you watch it. It's like a different iteration, which is great.
Different ending.
Yeah, different ending. A couple other things that came to mind for this. Chants of Xenar, which came out a year or two ago. Did you ever get a chance to play that? That's kind of the language, get to play that. The language deduction puzzle game, which
so cool.
Yeah, which that felt very unique. Again, felt similar to other deductive puzzle games, but the idea that you were putting together this fictional language felt like I was scratching an itch that I had not scratched before in video games, which I think kind of puzzle games / detective games like that can do that, even if they share a lot of DNA in common. You were mentioning how you really got into this weekend Seance of Blake Manor, which is that a little bit like Obra Dinn? Does that have a little of the same? Like, are you rewinding time in that? I downloaded it, but I haven't had a chance to.
I'm gonna give no spoilers for this, and I want to preface this. Chat, play Seance of Blake Manor. It genuinely might be my game of the year. I really, really love Science of Blake Manor. I'm really into detective mystery games.
Sure.
Like I do love them. So take it with a grain of salt. But the stuff it's doing is really interesting. But yeah, the thing in that game
seems kind of spooky.
It is spooky. There's a seance.
Fuck yeah.
The titular seance. The mechanic in that game, and this doesn't spoil anything that happens within it, is that the seance, the titular seance, is going to be happening in 2 days. And you have to solve many mysteries before the seance happens. And every action you take, so every person you speak to, every book you open, everything you investigate takes up a singular minute of time on the clock. So, and each hour, all of the guests in this place, all of the guests in this manor, have a schedule that they are going to be in a certain place at a certain time. So you'll have like an hour. So from 4 to 5, you have to get a certain amount of things done for the people that are out. Oh, we know X person is in the ballroom, or this, and this. So you're constantly battling time and trying to move forward. And the way it unfolds and the way the mysteries are laid out before you, they feel supernatural to discover, and that kind of time mechanic, visually it reminded me very much so of Blueprints. Like the environment does look very Blueprintsy.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this trailer that Eric's playing, definitely.
Yes, but also the just the nature of the interacting with items takes up time. Reminded me of the footstep mechanic in Blueprints. Like you have a finite amount of things you can do today, so.
But if you just fucking
wisely.
stop, time doesn't move. If you just don't do anything, time does not move.
Yeah, the same it's not like a real clock in Blake Manor. Yeah. Moving around the environment doesn't take time. So like opening doors does not take up time. It's only
but
you go into a room
something
and investigate 5 objects in there. It will take 5 minutes.
Gotcha.
Also, re-investigating items doesn't take up time. Like if you've seen it before and you want to remind
you can,
yourself,
refresh yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's this extensive like person by person mystery like pinboard of like all of the connecting things, so it keeps track of everything for you. You don't have to manually do it.
That sounds fucking great.
Amazing. Yeah. I
that
absolutely
sounds like
adore it.
Little crumbs of like you mentioned, Blueprints, Oberdin, even Outer Wilds. This game sounds great. I'm gonna.
It's really good, and an ending that I found very satisfying. Usually in a lot of these games, you're like, this was really good. So,
or you get to a point like in Blueprints where you're like, I'm done. I have reached my ending. I am done.
Oh, dude, Blueprints again. I think Blueprints is a great example of this kind of genre-defining game. Blueprints is really funny because I just like with many people, I think I spent like a good 5 days being permanently obsessed with it.
Sure.
Of just like, I need to finish it. Got to the end and thought that was amazing. I'm really glad I got that ending. But a friend of mine kept playing, and I'd occasionally like call him and he'd be like, yo, check this out. And he'd show me like 10 different rooms that I'd never seen.
You're like, what the fuck is
And I'd be like, what? And it just like reignited my like want to go back into it. But like just the amount of stuff you'd have to do to...
Yeah.
The RNG is the problem with that game, but that's
sure.
That's a topic for another time.
Yeah, I was even the idea of like how games deal with time and time management, I think is fascinating, because you can have things moving in real time. You can have your ability to manipulate time. You can have time move when you enter a room like Blueprints, or time move when you choose to investigate something like.
Yeah. And it's like giving the player that autonomy to be moved by time, but also when they choose to not be moved by time. This can be as simple as pausing a game. Like the ability to pause a game and things outside of the pause menu not continuing when you're paused is important in a lot of games. Like,
sure,
I probably wouldn't have liked Blake Manor as much if going through doors and moving took up time, because there was a bunch of situations where I had to like go back to places because I might have forgotten.
Just refresh your memory. Yeah.
Refresh my memory. And if I was wasting time doing that, I think I'd feel very frantic and very like, oh, I can't, what's happening? But this actually allowed me to like be moved by time, use it as a motivator to keep going, but also when I needed it to take that time and have a break. And Blueprints is the great example of that, is if you can just stand still and just be like, I'm going to think.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Hell yeah. Love having a nice thing. But John Arbuckle says, how many rooms in Blake Manor can Jackie Chan fight in?
Oh, all of them.
Are there any rooms that would make for a good fight?
Yeah, there's many. Yeah, there's I was thinking the entire time I was thinking about it. You guys might not know this, but Jess has like a really sorry, Jess has a really bad sense of direction.
Sure.
Like comically bad. Love you. Sorry. And while I was playing it, I was like, Jess would love this game. But then there's like a literal hedge maze. And I was like, oh, she's done. I was like,
never
she's
recommended this game. Never recommended this game.
It's too much. It's too much. Yeah. Because I had memorized it. Like I knew how to get through to go to the places I needed to go. But I was like, people are going to get so lost in this.
Did you get to the hedge maze in Lorelei and the laser eyes? That gets fractured. Oh my God. It has the most pain in the ass hedge maze because it's a maze. And then the what you're viewing the maze through gets shattered and moved around a bunch. And so you're trying to do a hedge maze that's out of order. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing?
That sucks. That absolutely sucks. There's maps in Blake Manor. Like you can look at a bunch of maps, but like Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is a great example. Like that game threw so much information at you that was either like obfuscated, and they'd highlight specific information to be like, this is the important stuff, which really took me out of the game in a way. Like I wasn't in Blake Manor, anything a character says that might be important, your character takes a note of it and puts it on the little pinboard. But some of it could be not useful to X mystery, but like it's there. But you can decide what is important based on that pinboard, rather than like in Lorelei, it was very much you see a wall of text from a book and one section of it will be highlighted. And it's like, I now don't feel motivated to read any of it apart from that one little highlighted section.
Sure. Yeah. It's like it's a tightrope to walk of how much information do you give to the player and how much do you expect for them to deduce. Because if you're reading like an entire page of something and you just want them to take away one little bit, that can be a little annoying.
How do you
but like
do
you
that,
said,
right?
But if you just highlight it, then that's kind of like, well, that's the solution, and the rest of it doesn't seem that important.
I know this is off topic, but I think it's an interesting chat. Like the idea of when you design something like that, you want to give the player the impression that they are discovering the information and then handing it to them. So an example in Blake Manor will be you'll pick up a letter and you'll read it. And as you are reading it, the game will wait a few seconds before it does a pop-up to say, here's the relevant information that your character's written down. But you, the player, have read through it by the time it gets to that. So as soon as you make the connection, it then does it in-game and then writes it down. So the game is telling you the answer, but it gives the impression that you are yourself discovering this stuff. Obviously, I can see through that bullshit because I'm like, oh, why are they delaying the animation? That's why. They want the player to feel that. But if you're just casually playing it, and it's like a lot of the stuff's very obvious. It's not like you're going to miss these things. And even if you do, it does give you small hints. But man, genuinely, everyone go support this game. These devs like deserve every bit of support. And also it's set in Ireland, and the like lore and history it goes into, kind of nuts, kind of insane, like really impressive.
We don't get enough Irish em-ups.
No, we don't.
I have that one downloaded on my Steam Deck. I'm going to be playing that one this week. The last couple I had written down were Sam Barlow's games. So Her Story, Telling Lies, and Immortality, which kind of brought FMV games back. FMV games were kind of a novelty in the 90s that were generally laughed at. But this brought them back and added some prestige to them in how they tell their stories. And those are examples of games that kind of do, like you've mentioned, require you to have a notebook at your side, because
love it.
Ostensibly what you're doing in those games is sifting through archival footage that pertains to their specific story. In Her Story, it's a murder and what happened around that. In Telling Lies, it's how a bunch of different characters' lives intersected because of this kind of going undercover. And then in Immortality, it's these 3 movies that have kind of been lost to time, starring the same actress, and what is the deal with their productions? Like, what happened? Why did they get lost to time? But then the main way you navigate them is, so you're watching a scene in Telling Lies, and she mentions something that happened on Maple Street. You can then type in Maple Street, and any clip that features the word Maple Street will pop up. So you might be able to see new clips you've never seen before. So you can kind of follow rabbit holes down. In the same way that Immortality, you're kind of matching cuts. And so you're watching a scene from a movie and a character pulls out a gun. You can click on the gun and then see another scene that featured that gun. And maybe it was a behind the scene footage of the director trying to choose which gun to go with. And in that scene, he mentions a drug dealer that he's getting coke from. And then you can then follow that and be like, who's this drug dealer and how are they reacting? Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Those games rule. And then the last one is by Samoga, the same developers as Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, and it was this game that until I believe this week was only available on iOS. However, they're releasing this I think it's Samoga's 10th anniversary or some anniversary, and they're releasing this like collection of games. I think both on PC and Switch, I want to say, of a bunch of their old games and then some archival footage and everything. But Device 6 was it was a game where you are reading a story, and so you're kind of scrolling through. It's almost like an ebook on your phone. But in the same way that the book House of Leaves, which is like a novel, but a novel that you have to end up like literally turning upside down. You have to flip far pages ahead. The actual layout and kerning of a page reflects the story. This does the same thing where it is you are reading a book and you have to solve puzzles in the book in order to progress. Its story is very like Prisoner meets Lost kind of thing, which I really fucking love. And so hopefully if that is a part of that collection, I'm hoping more people get a chance to play that, because I feel like that's one of my favorite games no one has touched. Device 6.
I love modern games that are similar to both the examples you just mentioned, taking genres that were very, very popular back in the day and being like, how can we put a modern spin on them? Like choose your own adventure books and FMV games and stuff like that. Those things were like really big back then, but then died off once we hit this kind of the 3D era after like the 64 and the PS1. We kind of petered off that stuff because that stuff was less interesting. And for these indie devs to be like, hey, here's like a new twist on this thing you're familiar with, more power to you, right?
Yeah. Yes, the thing now is like it feels like most of these are going to be in, especially nowadays, in the indie space, because AAA kind of just can't take those crazy risks at their budgets. In the past, they could. Budgets were smaller and rules weren't defined, and so that's why we'll bring up a lot of games from the late '90s, early aughts that were able to do that. Did you have any last thoughts before we jump into super chat?
I've got like a couple examples, but there's nothing we need to like in depth discuss about them. One, Kerbal Space Program. That's a game unique in its own genre, but I think that's through difficulty of crafting something like that.
Sure, and like realism, I guess. Yeah, there is probably a whole wing of this conversation in the PC space that I am ignorant to. So. Kerbal seems like a good one. Yeah,
Kerbal's one. And then the one that I think everyone will be familiar with, that is odd that more games haven't tried to just rip this off. Worms. Just Worms.
Yeah.
Like, can you name another 2D multiplayer action combat game? Like, I don't know how you would
like that. Yeah.
It's just
I'm
Worms,
surprised because
right?
Worms seemed like it was a big deal, but like it's weird that no one else just like...
Everyone had Worms.
Yeah, right? Everyone had Worms.
Everyone's got Worms.
People are saying
Yahtzee has Worms from Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Yahtzee's got Thanksgiving Worms.
Yeah.
People are just yelling ducks. I don't know if that's just an animal, though. You might just be yelling
Is that like a game where it's worms but ducks? Worms rules?
That'd be good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Good on Worms.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. You want to go into them super chats?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go to those suppies.
Let's do it. Thanks to everyone who donated money towards the super chats. Appreciate y'all. Starting off with Alex Armstrong. Thank you so much for a $2 dono. Are there any fast-paced platformers besides Sonic? We love talking about that hog here. Yeah, I got a couple. Again, mostly in the indie space. The Spark, the Electric Jester trilogy are probably the ones that come most to mind. There was Freedom Planet from like 10 years ago. Haste earlier this year is the one that was like the gotta go fast, like straightforward, run them up. Bobo Bay is an upcoming game that takes the Chow Garden aspect of Sonic Adventure 2. Penny's Big Breakaway was the Sonic Mania devs doing their own kind of momentum and movement based platformer.
Yeah.
There was Advent Neon that came out earlier this year. The Tori games.
If you just want to go quick, Neon White is something I've been playing again
honestly
this weekend.
That's a great shout. That is the one that probably does the thrill of Sonic better than most games, I would say.
I've been replaying it with a friend because he picked it up recently, and he said the only reason he liked the game is because I had times on it that he needed to beat. And now we've been going back and like finding like speedrun strats to kind of like beat our old runs and stuff, and it's been so much fun to kind of have that competition with a friend in that game. If anyone's on my friends list, get Neon White, go beat my times. Come on.
I love that. Here, I wrote I was writing these down as we were mentioning them. So there's a big list of them, chat. Go nuts. I don't know why that showed up as second win. I'm not second win, not me.
Also, yeah, like, and you saying, that kind of does the thrill of Sonic better than Sonic. I watched this hilarious video on Twitter, which was a dude starting a Sonic game. And then as soon as the gameplay started, he put the controller down and started making a sandwich. And by the time Sonic crossed the finish line with him having no input into the game, he finished his sandwich and started eating it. And I was like, well, there you go.
Listen, that hog knows how to go fast. There's one thing the hog knows how to do. He goes fast.
Go quick.
Shout out to hogs. Speaking of hogs, thank you so much.
There it is.
Alex Armstrong back saying, incidentally, you lads continually mock Sonic for years on end. Listen, right now, this is the largest percentage of Sonic fans you will ever get on a Second Wind podcast, because Eric is the world's #1 Sonic fan, and I am Second Wind's #2 Sonic fan.
Yeah, and I'm like the -1 Sonic
You're
fan.
the negative.
I'm like the anti. I'm the shadow of the Second Wind.
I just want guns. I just want guns.
And
I fucking love Sonic Frontiers. The rest of that.
What is it you like about it? This is me not doing the meme of Jay doesn't like Sonic. Like, what about it
I think its worlds are like beautifully sad and empty. Like I like just exploring a space, and I think the actual sense of movement, speed, and momentum. I think it has the best sense of speed in any 3D character platformer I've ever played.
Interesting.
It's not as good as it's not as good as most Mario games. It's not as good as Astro. But I
like things can be not as good as X, but still be good, right?
I like the Sonic movies. Listen, it is a goddamn shame Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was not nominated for Best Adaptation. They get good. They get literally good.
I heard good things.
Yeah. There you go. Hroth87, thank you so much for the Danish Kroner. I'll go to bat for Crusader Kings, dynasty-focused strategy game with heavy RPG elements, many fun stories when you get your son abducted by Vikings. See, this definitely falls in the that corner I was talking about of I am completely ignorant to PC games. So there you go.
Yeah, also goes into like too complicated for people to quickly rip off or do better. So I think there might be another suppy that was missed on your side.
Suppy? Get the fuck out of here.
It's like, it's either twos or I.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That's Dios Mio. Sorry, Dios Mio. I completely skipped you. Pyre is the best Supergiant game, and I will fist fight personally. Anyone who disagrees. Good. We need that kind of energy.
Not anyone, everyone.
Everyone.
Implies all at the same time.
Yeah. No, that's too many.
All 3 people that disagree, because Pyre is great.
Pyre rules. More people should play Pyre. That should be the ending. The ending of Hades 2 should be just unlocking Pyre, and you can play all Pyre if you want. There you go.
That would be a great ending. More games need to do. You think the game's over? Here's another game.
Yeah, it's just
Okami
not
being
even
the best one for
related.
that.
Yeah, Okami.
Oh yeah, especially
that
it's just
dragon
a
10 more
different game.
times.
That's great.
I found a mod for Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda, that turns all of the dogs in the world into little Okamis, like cell shaded and everything to look like Amaterasu.
I love it.
And I'm like, I kind of just want to play Ocarina of Time now with all my little Amaterasus following me.
Yeah, like Monster Hunter Rise had a tie-in where one of your Palamutes could be Amaterasu, and I never used any other skin as soon as I got it. I just love it.
At that point, you're like, why? What's the point? I've already reached perfection. I've tasted Nirvana.
They are a god. Like,
why do we need any of this?
We've peaked.
And then Alex Armstrong back with another $2. Thank you so much. Any horror roguelike detective games besides yours? I think Alex sent this before the podcast started, so didn't know Yahtzee was not going to be here. Horror roguelike detective. Well, so Blake Manor isn't a roguelike, correct?
No, it's a self-contained story that takes place.
But it is a spooky detective game.
It's a spooky detective game, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like in terms of like roguelike detective, there was Shadows of Doubt, which was the big one that you really enjoyed.
Best example,
from a few years ago. Yeah, I don't know if any specifically spooky ones like that though. I don't know. I'm sorry, Yasu's not here. We'll ask him next week. I don't know if he was like inspired by anything specific when he made that. Then Raven with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, Raven. Raven's weekly word of the week, week 27. Holy shit. That's a lot of words. Surreptitious. Hope that everyone had a good weekend. Get any good Black Friday deals? Is surreptitious? That's not like serendipity, is it? Like
no.
Serendipity is like something that was like meant like something. Ooh, it's was unexpected, but a nice
coincidences that benefit you, right?
Surreptitious is something kept secret, especially because it would not be approved of.
Ooh,
yeah. So like our Sonic the Hedgehog based gooning is surreptitious because we keep it secret out of shame.
Well, it's not we don't want to go anymore.
We don't want to go to the jail cell next to Yuji Naka.
I mean, Sonic. Just Sonic.
Just Sonic? I mean, this boy who's got to go fast. He's truly a boy who's got to go fast.
Well, good luck going fast in that 4x4 cell.
There's no way to go fast. Thank you so much. Jim Machete, thank you so much. Re-upped in the tip jar 2 whole years. Appreciate ya. And then Roth87 with another dono. Thank you so much. Also, Marty, it's pronounced Yort. It means deer. Oh, we've pronounced your name wrong for years. Thank you, Yort. Yort. Also, deer. That's a nice. That's a nice word for deer. Yort.
Yort87.
Yort. Beautiful. Thanks, Yort.
We'll pass that on to Yort. Thank you so much for the dono.
Tsunami Doucher back. $20 dono. Would have blown your goddamn mind. Didn't say anything. Didn't say a single thing.
That's such a wordsmith. That's so out of character.
Goddamn thing. Speaking of Sonic, sorry, I just got back around. Sega, especially in the Dreamcast era, they had a couple of games that felt like it was like I've never seen this before, but then would eventually get iterated upon. One of them being Jet Set Radio, which we got Bomb Rush Cyberfunk the other year, which was very much if you're not making those anymore, I'll make it now. But the other one. At the time, the most expensive video game ever made, Shenmue, which was very much a like life simulator in a Japanese town with a little bit of karate in it and kung fu, ended up kind of snowballing and becoming Yakuza. And that's what we expect from Yakuza, like a tight open world, a focus on the characters and how you spend your daily life and everything. There's like an absolute through line there to one of the bigger franchises.
Oh, 100%. And that's a weird one because it's like Shenmue 1 and then 2 were like crazy ambitious for the time and kind of started a genre, and then they didn't make any more. Yakuza then like snowballed into like this massive franchise that does it really well, and then they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna make Shenmue 3, but we're gonna do it the exact same way we made 2. And it's ass.
And it felt like it was one of those like, oh, you were like 20 years late to this party with this game.
You really haven't learned any lessons from the other games that have tried to improve the genre. It's a shame.
There you go. Steven Jackson, thank you so much for a $10 dono. Appreciate you, Steven. One of my favorite unique spins on a genre is the first-person shooter plus RTS genre, specifically Natural Selection 1 and 2. Each side had one commander with a top-down RTS view, and everyone else played in first person as units.
Yes.
That's interesting. I like that.
Really, really fun games.
Yeah.
Multiplayer as well. So one would be playing effectively colonial marines and the others would be playing aliens, but with different species of aliens, and you'd be battling for like resources and areas of these facilities. Really fun multiplayer games. I really wish they'd do more.
Are these like a modern? Are these modern, like newish?
Semi-modern. I don't know when the last one came out. Natural Selection 2. I remember it being quite old though.
2012. Oh, that is wow. Oh, I was gonna. That's even older than. I was gonna say a little bit of that asymmetrical multiplayer reminded me of
like Evolve.
Yeah, what Evolve tried to do, and we got a couple games that kind of did a similar thing, but that kind of 4v1. I guess all the horror games, Dead by Daylight is that.
Dead by Daylight, yeah,
Friday the 13th, all that shit.
Yeah, I think just back then they were hard to monetize. Like Evolve just like dropped the ball on its like monetization and its how it was doing its release schedule. I'm not sure why Natural Selection kind of dropped off. Maybe the dev team went on to do other stuff. But I believe like if a new one came out nowadays, people would be all over it because it's really interesting and kind of accessible. So I think a newer one would do really well. But fingers crossed.
Who made Natural Selection 2?
Johnny Knoxville.
They took 6 years off and made Subnautica. That was Unknown Worlds.
What?
Yeah.
Well, rest in peace, them. Hopefully,
whatever's going on over there now.
Yeah, hopefully after all the Subnautica 2 dramas kind of floated to the bottom and causes sediment. Hopefully they make Natural Selection free.
Hopefully the creative folks there who didn't want a part of any of this goddamn nonsense. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know. I literally looked it up. I was like, okay, so the first one was Natural Selection 1 was a Half-Life mod. Half-Life : Natural Selection. And then Natural Selection 2, and then 6 years off, and then Subnautica.
Damn.
Fascinating. Truly fascinating. Kite. Thank you so much for the dono. Divinity Dragon Commander had a similar RTS plus main character setup, but it was upfront about the concept so people could accept it. Brutal Legend, this was in response to Brutal Legend. Brutal Legend got screwed over by poor marketing and by targeting consoles. Yeah, it felt like it was trying to, there was like 3 different audiences Brutal Legend could go for. I guess 4. It was 1, do you have season tickets to Tim Schafer and this team? Which I did. That was me. 2 is they said, hey, it's like a little bit of Zelda. And I was like, I like Zelda. I was like, great. And then 3 was, it's heavy metal. And I'm like, well.
That was me. That was me.
And so that was where I was like,
I loved metal and I loved Tenacious D.
I
used to watch Tenacious D like all the time, multiple times a day when I was younger. I loved it. Could play all the songs on the guitar like while I was watching it. And I then saw a video game that was starring Jack Black and I was like, and it was a metal game. I was like, I'm fucking sold. Yeah. So that's how I got in the door. And I think that's how a lot of people did get in the door. So the RTS elements were a bit of a shock. I was like, what is it asking of me? Like, what
I think that's the tough thing is like those, I think a lot of people would get behind a couple of those, but there's a very thin slice of people who wanted all 4 of those, wanted a funny Tim Schafer metal inspired part Zelda, part RTS. It's like at that point you're like, ooh, this is a lot going on. This is like a real busy,
too much.
Busy plate. You know what happens when you have a busy plate? You get stuffed too much, and that's why Yahtzee's not here.
It spills over. Yeah.
Plate was too busy. Stir. Thank you for the dono. Stir Hughes 69. Sometimes these names are tough. With a €6 dono. Thank you so much. The Spellforce games mixed RPG gameplay like WoW with RTS gameplay like Warcraft 3, which felt very unique to me. Have you played it?
Ooh.
I've not. I've never even heard of Spellforce.
No, I think a friend of mine, this is weirdly serendipitous. A friend of mine started playing that the other day. And I didn't know what he was playing, so I like right-clicked his name and went to see what the game was. And I looked at this game. It does look really cool. And it is an awesome blend of genres. I just wish more games had the I'm not going to say had the idea to do this, because a lot of devs are constantly thinking of ways to make their games unique. It's just a massive risk, right? As we just explained with Brutal Legends, if you're not like super focused on one thing, you might miss out on a huge core audience that could be playing your game. So it's hard to make your USP genre defining without targeting a genre so people know what to buy, right?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage to be like, yeah, we're going to be wholly unique and do something different. But more power to those devs that are taking the risks, for sure.
Sure. Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's also funny when you see a game that comes out that tries something new and then kind of flounders, and then people just don't revisit that idea. They're like, oh, it's almost like Chernobyl to them. You're like, oh, the ground is toxic. Whereas like those are the ideas where I'm like, well, if there was a kernel of something interesting here, like try that again. Don't just be like, Vampire Survivors is popular, let's just make every game Vampire Survivors. Like, which obviously has worked for something like Mega Bonk became a giant success, and that was just kind of that, Ball Pit takes some of the Vampire Survivors
that's
stuff,
the great example is Vampire Survivors was a game that was genre defining, was like something completely unique, and then is relatively easy to quickly prototype and put your own like visuals on it, so then you can just pump them out. So that's always the problem with those. But like I will defend Vampire Survivors as a really good game. Like I have hundreds of hours in that game. It's really, really good.
Yeah, and I mean when I guess we're seeing a similar thing in like roguelike deck builders and everything. I imagine we're going to be at the point now where we're seeing a lot of Balatro likes. Although, I'm kind of surprised we haven't already seen them, because that game's been out for like a year and a half.
Yeah, and again, I think it's because people are trying to find, and I know a few people trying to develop Balatro likes, and it's because with something like that, because Balatro was so unique in the sense that it was poker roguelike, people are trying to find the USP. So it's like, oh, it's a blackjack roguelike. Oh, it's a roulette table roguelike.
I guess, Clover Pit's a great example of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you need that USP. And I think people are running out of unique gambling things to turn into roguelikes, and or they're not taking the obvious thing because they think hundreds of other people are going to be trying to do that. Yeah. So they're trying to find a unique thing. So,
and just for anyone who wasn't here near the beginning, USP is unique selling point, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that's just a term for like what is the kind of the core hook?
Yeah,
like
it's
separates your game.
Yeah, what separates your game? What's the unique thing that you are going to put on the back of the box, basically? And you don't need a USP, but it's heavily advised when you're prototyping a game. Like, what is your USP? What is the thing that's going to get people interested in the game? Because, like, why would somebody play your... I was just about to call the game Twink. What's the little fox Zelda game?
Tunic?
Tunic, that's the one. I don't know why Twink was
starring its main character, Twink.
Yeah. Well, like when you're playing Twink, right? Hit game Twink. When you play this game, like what about it? Why would you play this game rather than going to play one of the older Zelda games, right? And the USP is the manual. And the unraveling secrets in the game, right? Which is very different to Zelda. That's its USP, which elevates it to another level and makes it sellable as a unique product rather than just copying another genre.
And that's when you can, like, it's totally fine to frame something inspired by something else as long as you do kind of give it.
You have your thing, your spice, your twist, your USP.
And a lot of people pointing out, I mean, honestly, you could call Link is like the proto Twink in video games.
Oh, yeah. He's the Twink.
He's Twink Prime.
Not a chest there on that fool.
I'm now trying to think of like games where single sentences have sold me. I think it was, there was that indie game Arctic Eggs last year where its whole thing was you have to realistically fry eggs in first person on a pan, but also you'll have to fry other things, like you'll have to light a cigarette, and also there will be a bullet in the pan, so you need to flip it enough so that the bullet doesn't go off. I'm like, that is the easiest way to sell something to me. I've like never seen that before. I will try.
Yeah,
that.
like that's a great USP, right? And I think that's super, super cool. I remember you guys talking about this, and I never actually understood what it was. That's awesome. For me, Blueprints. Yeah, a roguelike puzzle game. Sold. Right, like I'm already sold. I was at GDC like with Yahtzee and the rest of the team, and we were with the dev, and they took us in, and it was on like the start screen, and it literally was that. He was like, "Hi, I'm making a roguelike puzzle game where you do the blueprint for a mansion, and you have to go through it and solve puzzles." And like, I'm in. I'm buying your game. It's like, it's going to be one of my games of the year. Like, hands down. So cool.
Video games. They're good.
Yeah.
The Brain Sturgeon with a €6 dono. Thank you, Brain Sturgeon. JM8, if you're looking to have an accessibility expert on dev heads, I'd recommend asking Laura Kate Dale. She's a good friend of Stephanie Sterling.
Oh, cool.
I've read some of Laura's work. Yeah, I know they're a big advocate for accessibility, which I know you are also very passionate about.
I've been having some passionate conversations in the Design Delve chat over accessibility, because obviously the end of my last episode was all about Dark Souls accessibility and stuff like that. And I think it's a very nuanced topic that it's very easy for people to get confused with the idea of like accessibility and like difficulty modes and like cheating in games and stuff like that and intended experience. I think like there's an entire episode of not just dev heads but like Design Delve on accessibility and like really going into like how important it is and why. But I've expressed to some people in the Discord that like before I make that, I want to get a bunch of experts, not just accessibility experts, but people who are affected by the exclusion of accessibility options in games. And I have friends who are affected by it, but I want to try and get a broad spectrum of experiences like to be heard, so that we actually understand the impact of not including these things, rather than just being like, accessibility, you should be for it, because that just doesn't really work. I want to change people's minds. If you think it shouldn't be a thing, I want to actually have a decent conversation with you through the video. See if I can change your mind.
Yeah, especially because obviously your colorblindness disability is just a small slice of the things
it's tiny.
We talk about accessibility.
Accessibility
isn't just make it easy mode.
Yeah, like it's just a small slice.
That being said, just put an easy one. I just want an easy one. Witticism, thank you so much for a $5 dono. Fury is definitely a game that's a collection of familiar pieces, but I haven't played anything since that feels quite like it, both in terms of game and in terms of story.
Good example.
Fury is the game. I know we've played that. I think the Hidden Gems crew or Hot Money Energy crew played that, which is
the Boss Rush one.
Boss Rush one, by the Game Breakers, the folks who are making. They made Haven a few years ago, and then they're making that climbing game Cairn next year. I mean, I guess with boss rushy things too, like games that laid a foundation that have been copied a ton since. Eco and Shadow of the Colossus. Like Shadow of the Colossus felt like the first game where it was like, listen, 90% of this game is these 16 bosses, and now we have, indie ones like that Jotun, and then or Titan Souls, and then we have like sort of bigger AAA ones like Jotun, and then stuff like Solar Ash from Heart Machine. And then even like what that game company did with Journey felt very unique. And then now we have stuff like Abzu and Sword of the Sea, Hurdling earlier this year, which all even like a little bit of the new Double Fine game Keeper reminds me of Journey. So if you are original, then people will crib.
It's so difficult, right? Because especially if a game comes out of nowhere like Shadow of the Colossus, even I do think there's room for I don't want to use the word improvement. There's room for experimentation and growth within that genre. But a lot of games won't attempt to do it because Shadow of the Colossus was such a huge thing, pardon the pun,
Yeah.
that you can't help but be compared to it once you release something. Like, you are always going to be compared to that one thing. This happens with, well, this hasn't stopped them. This happens with like the Souls-like genre. No matter how good your Souls-like is, you are always going to be compared to FromSoft. And in a lot of other genres, that dissuades people from wanting to try and elevate the genre, because they're like, well, if we make one mistake, people are just going to be like, well, Shadow of the Colossus did this better. And you suck, right? So it is
interesting when a new game comes along to become kind of the mile marker of that, though, because I think for the longest time, Metroidvanias were, are you as good as Super Metroid? Are you as good as Symphony of the Night? Those were kind of the two high watermarks. But now we have Hollow Knight, right? Which like Hollow Knight has become the new, which did enough of a twist on the Metroidvania genre to where you can play indie games now like Haiku the Robot or Lone Fungus that are like, oh, you are clearly inspired by Hollow Knight, the way you deal with health, the way you deal with currency, the way you deal with map exploration, the way you deal with, in a way that is different than your Metroids and your Castlevanias that came before.
And your Castlevanias, Like it's a very interesting one that like the combination of Metroid and Castlevania with Symphony of the Night kind of created that new genre, because I guarantee you, if that game wasn't as big as it was to create this genre, all games that are like Hollow Knight would be called Hollow-likes. Like that's just what they would be called. But because it was created so long ago, that's the new. Well, that's the original name, so people aren't.
Would have called them Nighty Nights.
Nighty Nights. I'd like that.
Yeah. Bolts MR, thank you so much. $2 dono, just a little heart. Appreciate you, Bolts.
Thank you.
And then Arlie, thank you so much for a $5 dono. Have to shout out my favorite time loop in gaming, TTRPG scenario Observer Effect for Delta Green RPG. Fantastic use that doesn't hurt the stakes.
I've not heard of that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think Delta Green is the RPG, and this Observer Effect. I know Observer Effect in science is the thing where something acts differently depending on like fucking molecules.
Particles act differently when they're observed.
Viewed. Yeah.
Which is an odd phenomenon.
Yeah. Truly confusing.
As in, like, there's a game I keep seeing on Twitter. I think it's called Object Permanence, where in the game things only move and things only operate when you're looking at them. Mm-hmm. So when you turn away from them, there's one of the little GIFs they did was a train is like bolting towards them, and they look away from the train and go in an alcove and then look back at the train and it starts going again because they're not looking at it. So there's no object permanence. Yeah, that is a unique mechanic, and I'm looking forward to when that comes out. I love all these little unique puzzle, like Superliminal and stuff like that.
Oh my god, there was a horror golf game for itch.io. Oh my god, how am I ever going to find that? Greener Grasses Await. Was this the game? I found it. I was like, I'm never going to find this. And I found it in seconds. Greener Grass Awaits. And it's a game where you get to a golf course, and it is like, it's in the evening, sun's going down, you're the only one there, and you start to play golf. And then as you are playing golf, you start noticing a figure in the distance. And as long as you are looking at the figure, it doesn't move. But when you look away from it, it slowly gets closer. And the thing is, you have to combine the horror of that with actually playing golf.
Trying to putt the ball.
To like line up your view and everything, putt the ball. And you're like, well, shit, I'm not looking at this thing that's following me.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good stuff.
USB.
Yeah, USB. B Smalley, thank you so much for a $5 dono. Paradox games in general make their own space. TNO as grand strategy light novel, Stellaris, picking up Masters of Orion, Crusader Kings as mentioned.
Yes.
And I think that's where you're able to, by having a very passionate, I guess, niche fan base, if you want to call it that. I mean, it's bigger than a niche, but a very passionate fan base. Like, you can make things that take those kind of risks and don't feel, homogenized like we bemoan a lot of AAA games feeling like nowadays.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then Alex Armstrong, thank you so much for another $5 dono. This $5 is an extra special thanks to Marty for having my back whenever I mess up a super chat. You always know what I actually mean to say. Everyone's typing things. Listen, I'm a big fan of if you're just typing things, don't worry. This isn't a fucking essay. I'm not grading you on this. If I understand what you're saying, we'll get through it. I'm not nitpicking. Listen, and I don't want to point at anyone who nitpicks, but they're not here today.
Yeah.
Not pointing at anyone. Not pointing at a single person. It is Yahtzee, but I'm not pointing at anyone. You see these fingers? They're only pointing up at the big man up top. God. I don't like pointing like this. Pointing like this is weird.
That's the worst. If you point at someone with all of your fingers, you're casting a spell. You're not.
That is, you're doing a little bit of magic.
Awesome.
You're doing a little bit of sorcery and whatnot.
If somebody went, you come here.
That's you're fucking scorpioning them.
Yeah, you're done.
We did it.
We got through the suppies.
We did a whole podcast, and very, very few of us cried. Thank you so much for joining on this episode of Windbreaker. Jay, what do you got going on? What should folks know about that Jay does?
So recently, last week, I had a episode of Design Delve come out, which was on the hidden secrets of Dark Souls design. One of my favorite episodes I've ever created. So go check that one out if you want to see some of that stuff. Next week, I will not be here because I will be in England visiting my family. So it'll be my turn to be stuffed.
Excuse me?
As in Yahtzee isn't here.
Oh yeah,
I said that sentence,
great.
I said that sentence and immediately recoiled.
You're going home for Saint Stuffings Day?
Yeah, I gave myself whiplash. So I'll be away for a week. So because of that, the Design Delve next week is going to be a compilation of all of the Design Delves that have ever come out. And Eric can confirm how long it is. I think it's very long.
1,000 hours.
So yeah, if for some weird reason you like listening to Design Delve, you can now have a sleepy bye-byes playlist.
Listen,
video.
People love going sleepy bye-byes to our voices. Exactly. I don't get it, but people love it.
Hey, it's some people are like that. And also the following video after that is going to be my best game design of 2025 video. So it's kind of like my mini game of the year awards, I guess, to what I think is the best design. It's a difficult year this year because there's so many good things.
Do you just narrow it down to one thing, or do you do a couple?
No, each category. So there'll be one for narrative design, puzzle design, combat design, and there'll be a whole host of different ones, and maybe even a worst one. I wonder what that will be.
There's so many ways we can go.
Yeah,
it's truly.
But yeah, I'll be back the following week. So the Windbreaker after that, I'll be here and doing a bunch of stuff. So
great.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that'll be our last one of the year. We have 2 left. So we have next week, Jay will not be here. We'll have a fill-in. And then the 15th will be our last Windbreaker of the year.
2025.
Incredible. On the second win front this week, we'll have, first off, if you are a Phoenix tier member and didn't make it to last week's Patreon movie night, that VOD should be up now, I believe, or going up very shortly. I set the time earlier today, and I'm going to be honest, I don't remember when it was. Oh, it was now. It was 1 o'clock. Perfect. So that is up now. Also on the Patreon front, we have a very fun group video we did. If you watched our last Let's Draw video, we did another one. Myself, Eric, Jesse Galena, and Casey joined Omar in trying to draw 5 made-up Pokemon. And let me tell you, a lot of penises. A surprising amount of penises.
It's par for the horse.
Yeah. Exactly. And then on the stream front, later today, the Hidden Gems crew, 2/3 of the Hidden Gems crew will be back. Casey's also under the weather. He got stuffed too. Too many of our boys are getting stuffed.
I know. It's an epidemic.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's weird that a couple of the fathers on the team got stuffed. So, Jack, watch out.
Think about it.
Watch your stuff hole. But Jesse and Jess will be back, I believe, playing a big monster truck game. Yeah, big old monster trucks. And then, normal streams the rest of the week. We'll be back tomorrow with the rewind, so tune in there. And Ridiculous. Thank you so much for using your Green Gang membership in the value tier. 3D Metroidvanias never really seemed to go anywhere besides the Prime trilogy. There's probably indies out there, but they clearly didn't break through. It is funny that it seems like Metroid Prime kind of, especially in first-person Metroidvanias, doesn't have a ton of competition. There's like some indie ones like Superland and I guess High on Life-ish, but
yeah. The problem is like genre is so bullshit. There are many games that like use the genre-defining Metroidvania elements in 3D. We just don't call them Metroidvanias because we don't think of them like that. Like most Zelda games are Metroidvanias, right? They use ability blockades to get you from certain areas and then allow you to go through them, right? But we don't think of it as being a part of that genre. So yeah, but like things that use that as a USP of like we're Metroidvania but in 3D, not many.
Yeah. I guess like Arkham Asylum kind of did that in 3D, but obviously that was third person. That was not first person. So
yeah.
There you go. Thank you so much. I said ridiculous. I'm just gonna still say ridiculous. The name's ridiculous, but that's fine. Yeah, that was a Harry Potter spell.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wizards.
It's a Bogart.
So fucking Bogart. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone who tuned in, watching live, anyone who's listening on their podcast service of choice, anyone who super chatted, and of course, all of those wonderful patrons. And last but not least, our sponsor, Play Tracker. Go join that Play Tracker guild in the description, because someone needs to dethrone Jess. Jess has too many points.
Somebody has dethroned Jess.
Good. Get fucked, Jess.
Somebody's dethroned Jess, and Jess dethroned me, which upset me greatly. But like you guys can see how your gaming stats, your achieves stack up against the Second Wind staff and other fellow Second Wind nerds. So let's see who's number one.
I play most of my games on fucking Switch, and you know what doesn't have any achievements? Switch, because they don't want you to get kidnapped.
Yeah, who's top right now? Let me go look. Anem is number one. Jess is now at 5th. Oh wait,
Damn.
no, wait. I that's number 2. Anem is Trombonified is number 1.
Hey, I'm in 9th. That's not bad.
Jess says great name.
Shabby. I'm better than 97% of the guild members. Guild members, fucking step up. Eric, 14th. Get the fuck out of here, Eric.
Casual. Absolute
goddamn
casual.
Cash. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone who tuned in. Appreciate you all. So for Eric and Jay and the absent Yahtzee, this was Marty. This was Windbreaker episode number 102. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your Mondays, and hopefully we'll see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.